You're live.
We're doing it. Nice. I am just remembering that it's going to record for the next 30 minutes.
Okay, if anybody's even here, which we have no idea how to use this, we are still learning. This is our first time doing this, so bear with us.
Also flipped on the screen. It's very strange.
Yeah. Okay. If you're here, write in the chat so we know.
Do we?
I don't know.
Do we fill the space with conversation?
Sure.
How many coffee left? Ooh, yeah, I do.
Nice. I guess we'll give it a couple minutes to see if anybody shows up. Which there are only 7 possible participants. So.
Let's see. Right now we're in Penasco.
Mm-hmm.
This is an Airbnb that we rented. And we're in our final countdown of boat repair. Was that somebody talking? No. Mm-hmm. That number went from 2 to 0.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was some people here.
Yeah.
They're like, no, I didn't get the fuck out of this.
Okay, well, whatever. We're going to answer Cassie's questions while we're here because we did have someone pop in and say they weren't able to make it. So, Cassie, here come your questions.
Our Q&A, our first Q&A. Welcome everybody.
Welcome everybody. All 0 people.
Yeah.
Okay, so your first question was, what is your biggest hurdle with having a dog on the boat? In Mexico specifically, it's the stray dogs. We have a hard time bringing him anywhere except for the like super remote destinations because the stray dogs here are not quite friendly as to be expected. We had one run-in last year where he got bit by a stray dog, and we've been really cautious ever since. And that's definitely a bit of a stressor for everyone, including the dog.
Yeah. All in all, though, I do think having the dog on the boat has been pretty easy. He adjusted very well.
Yeah.
And I think in a lot of ways, he likes boat life more than he liked. I mean, definitely more than he liked Chicago.
Yeah.
City life was hard.
Yeah. Sometimes I think he misses central air. Sometimes it gets a little hot for him and he's very like upset about the fact that he's hot. But generally, he's outside all the time, which he definitely enjoys. And he can go to the bathroom whenever he needs to because we have the little turf mat for him. And he's a beach dog through and through. So
yeah, that's definitely his place. He loves the beach.
The minute you say the word, he's like, get me off this boat.
Yeah. He's also added a lot of like safety for us.
So true.
Especially being in the more remote areas. Actually, maybe next year with more population, we'll feel even more safe. But at least being in the more remote areas, he would bark at any boat that was coming towards us. So we always had a lot of time before somebody like popped up on us. And often they would just like turn around. They're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with a dog.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Which he's been trained by my dad since he was a puppy to respond to who's there. So if you say that to him, he knows that he's intentionally like supposed to bark.
Yeah.
And that's been a big one. Yeah. He's on the couch right behind us sleeping.
Yeah.
But that's been a good command to have. So if you have a dog that is still willing to learn commands, definitely recommend that one. Obviously, he was not like adopted with the intention of being a guard dog, but it has definitely paid off to have that little trick.
Yep, for sure. Ludo.
Let's see, what's your next question?
Oh, and he eats all the bonito as well.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of fresh fish.
We catch a lot of bonito, which are not tasty fish for humans. We've tried it a couple times, but after one made Will really sick, we were like, yeah, we're done doing this. So now when we catch them, we keep one and cut it up for Lou so he can have it between sales, whatever. Have you had any difficulties bringing him to other countries? So far, no, but we've only been in Mexico.
I don't even think Mexico knows or cares that he's here.
Yeah.
I've never declared him anywhere.
And nobody's ever asked about him. Like we've brought him into the like port captain check-in offices. We've brought him with us and they like look at him and don't even ask for like rabies paperwork or like proof that he is our dog. They never ask any questions about him. From what I've read, we're getting ready to go to multiple countries next year. We're going to have quite a few check-in, check-out processes. And everything that I've read for those countries is microchip and rabies vaccines are the two big ones that you have to have. Lou doesn't have a microchip, so we will be getting that done before we leave Penasco, I think.
Poor dog.
Yeah. It's a minorly invasive procedure. It happens really fast. I think it's like a needle. They just it's really tiny. It's like a grain erase.
Nice.
But yeah, microchipping and rabies vaccine are the big ones. But I mean, generally you're going to keep up on your dog's vaccines anyways. And the vet that we use here in Penasco was super nice, super friendly. So we've had a good experience with that so far. The only like real high risk for us right now, as we continue to move south next year, is most of the countries we're visiting are technically high risk rabies countries, which means that they have a large stray dog population and not many of those dogs, if at all, if any, are already vaccinated. So trying to get him back into the United States, he needs to spend at least 6 months in a non-high risk country, or we have to show proof that he's had a rabies vaccine within a certain time frame of visiting that country. We haven't had to come across that issue yet, like in person. So we haven't like done a ton of research about it, but that's just what I know.
It might be, yeah, I'll take it on a tangent next. The dog has seriously influenced our route though. So we did look at the difficulty of bringing him into different countries around the world. And it's extremely difficult to get dogs into French Polynesia, New Zealand. And our original thought on the route was to go west around the world. And we don't think we would be able to bring the dog with us if we did that because of how strict the entry process is in those countries. So we're doing an Atlantic lap. I don't know if we're talking about that yet. Maybe we bleep it out. I don't know if we can bleep this out. It's live. Oh my God.
It's the Patriots. It's fine. Also, there's no one here. Yeah, the original thought was going through Baja, going through the Sea of Cortez, and then crossing from Puerto Vallarta at the end of the Baja kind of last year. And that didn't happen for two reasons, because of the dog, for two reasons. Getting into the country, getting into French Polynesia is difficult. But on top of that, I couldn't fathom putting a 10-and-a-half-year-old dog through an entire month at sea. It didn't sit right with me. So if Lou had not been present, I think we really would have gone through with that Pacific crossing. But instead, we're heading down the Pacific Central American coast and going through the canal. And now you know. Anything else to add to that question? Okay, next. Have you considered having a Patreon meetup?
When we talk about meeting patrons, it's always in the context of like, we meet them in the wild.
Very organically.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit. Wow. Hey, nice to meet you. And we've talked about like carrying trinkets around on the boat with us to hand out if that ever happens.
Yeah. In terms of like an official meetup, we have not really thought about that because we have spent the last year in like a super remote location.
Yeah. So
the Patreon's very new to us. The whole concept is very new to us. And we are still kind of learning to navigate all of this. But generally, you may not believe this, but generally Will and I are pretty private people. Putting our lives on the internet took a lot of convincing, particularly on my end. I had to be convinced to do it pretty strongly. So Patreon like adds a different element of that. You guys get a lot more of us, and that is a little bit intimidating, particularly for me. So in terms of like organized meetups, I'm certainly not against them in the slightest, but I would like to have a little bit more time to like process the fact that that's a possibility. And on top of that, be in a much more like desirable location. Baja is really hard to get to. Mainland Mexico isn't necessarily hard to get to, but we have plans to move a lot faster next year. So I'm not sure how feasible that would be. But again, not saying that it'll never happen, but it's not something that's on our radar at this time.
Yeah. I do think we'll probably need to have a live stream with more than 0 participants before we consider doing this in person.
So true. So true. Oh dear. That's okay. Listen, we've only been at it for a month. And the fact that there are 7 of you to begin with, even though none of you are here, the fact that there are 7 of you to begin with is still like crazy to us.
It's very nice.
Yeah. So thanks for that. Okay. Have you considered doing a Patreon raffle for a patron to sail with you guys for a few days? We have talked about this.
It's the same struggle that collecting my thoughts.
I do it too. It's the only reason I'm laughing.
It's the same struggle that we have with bringing guests on board as well. So our general plan for next season is to move south a couple thousand nautical miles. And we do have a point where we want to cross a Panama Canal. So we have somewhat of a timeline to get through it. And when people try to sail with us, we usually get stuck in that place because it's usually like one airport around.
Yeah.
Not very many places like travel into on a route. So I think that would be the hardest part is coordinating. Like it would be a likely pick up in one place and drop off in another place. And then the thing that we have trouble with our friends and family doing this is we have to convince them that like we don't have time out here. So like if the weather's not blowing.
Not that we don't have time, but time is not a strict like mode of measurement for us.
Right.
We could go with the wind. If we have to stay in an anchorage an extra day, we do that. So adjusting ourselves to time is another thing that isn't bad, but is a factor that we don't often consider.
Yeah. Actually, I'll keep going down a tangent here as we talk to ourselves.
I'm gonna center you better. You're like half in, half out of the frame.
Hello. It's my other half. I lost where I was going with this.
Time.
Touche. No, actually it did. One of the biggest things that is important to us, and I think should be on the top of most people who want to go sailing, is you cannot cruise on a schedule. As soon as you have like finite dates, you end up putting your boat or yourself in at-risk or uncomfortable positions to meet those times. If you're like living without time, you just go strictly with the weather and you really have a comfortable experience the entire time. But every time that we've needed to meet a date, we've had to like put ourselves in an anchorage that we didn't love or try to like, we have to turn the motor on, which we don't like doing, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So to further answer your question,
we have thought
about a raffle.
Yeah.
And it is definitely something that we will be continuing to discuss and try to kind of like organize and put together more concretely. But for now, don't expect it anytime soon.
I do like what I've seen other channels do recently is where they have a deal with a like charter company. And like patrons, when it come, they charter their own boat and like we all kind of buddy boat around. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No, I get what you're saying, but I feel like there's an insinuation there that every patron knows how to sail. And if they don't know how to sail, it's not a very good option.
Live the life.
Live the life. But yes, we will continue to ponder over that. And you can continue to be updated by these things or about these things. I feel like we'll try to be as transparent about this stuff as possible. That's just our MO in general.
Yeah, we have been rambling on about the answer for about 4 minutes now.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question. At this point, I don't even know what we said. Okay, final question from Cassie. What is your dream sailing destination? That's a hard one.
Oh yeah, that's super tough.
I feel like I'll give you my top 3. Definitely like Scotland and Ireland. I've always wanted to sail there, I feel. At least since we started talking about it, that was a high one on my list because it's just like not the tropical destinations are definitely like fun and I like being here where it's like warm all the time, but there's just something about like dreariness that really gets me going. Yeah. I like the idea of just like sailing off these very dramatic cliffs and stuff like that. So I'm definitely hoping that we make it there someday.
Get a nice like hot cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And like foggy outside.
And you get to wear sweaters and be cozy. Yeah, looking forward to that. And also Croatia. Croatia is really high on my list. We have friends that have sailed there multiple times and have said that it's like breathtaking, incredible sailing. So definitely want to go to Croatia. I feel like my third one is just the Med, but I don't have a specific destination in mind there. Like I just want to go to the Mediterranean, and not particularly because I want to like sail there, but I want to visit those countries like Turkey and Greece and Italy, France. South of France is supposed to be like breathtaking. So I feel like those would be my top 3 destinations.
My turn?
Your turn.
Nice. We're getting ready for this. I think I have like travel destinations that I want to go to, but they're not necessarily like for the sailing of it. There's one place I would probably choose for the sailing experience. That would be like a circumnavigation of Australia. I think the sailing there would be incredible, and the nature there is incredible. And you would do it for, it's not like a easy coastal cruise. It's like real sailing. You have to do some stuff to get around. So I think that one would probably be my number 1 like destination.
Can I cut you off for a second?
Wait.
We watch Slim and Soph sailing Nakama. Like every time they release a video, we love their episodes. And they are doing a circumnavigation of Australia right now on like a 30-foot boat. They're a ton of fun. If you haven't checked them out before, definitely check out Slim and Soph. We love them.
Definitely.
That's part of what inspired the desire to do a circumnavigation around Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I think the rest of mine are like more sailing experiences that I want to have, not so much sailing locations. Like I really want to cross an ocean, and I really want to do cold weather sailing. Like the Caribbean, like Emily says, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We've sailed down there before.
Had a horrible experience, to be completely honest, but that's not a tangent worth going into at the moment.
Yeah, it also wasn't the Caribbean's fault.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go back there. I think my like sailing desires are now like more pushing the limits a little bit, like going out longer sails, ocean crossings, icebergs.
Icebergs. I don't think Appa's up for icebergs.
It does. It has that that forward part of the anchor locker is a compression box.
Oh.
You can blow right through an iceberg. Iceberg and not sink.
We'll see. It would be crazy. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I would totally be down for high latitude sailing. That just sounds like a blast. Like do Norway and Finland and go through the fjords.
Probably get all the way up to like Greenland and then go down.
So fun.
Yeah, that's our sailing.
Yeah.
And this is our first oh look, there's somebody here. There's a 1 now. Hey.
We've just been talking to ourselves for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
No big deal.
We were just about to end it, I think.
No, I gave ourselves 30 minutes. We were going to fill the gap with anything else. If you have a question, pop in.
Oh, you know what? I wonder if they're on Patreon, right? Logged in viewing this.
Oh my God.
How did they write in the chat?
Listen.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. If we have done this wrong, I'm so sorry to everyone involved.
That would be a little hilarious.
That would be a little hilarious. Oh, wait, I got a comment from Bo Walls. Hi, Bo Walls. Will we be upgrading the boat? Fantastic question. That's actually what we're here doing right now in this apartment. We are doing a small refit this year with some cool additions and some aesthetic changes that we're really excited about. Would you like to take it away?
You seem super excited. I was going to talk about like the mechanical changes we've done. But yeah, if you want to talk about the fun stuff.
Okay. We're doing some interior upgrades, like hanging signs and making the boat like homey, which I won't get too into because it's not very exciting. But we are also have changed the sacrificial sun canvas cover on the head sail. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but it was a huge job. And I wrestled that sail all over the place for like a week trying to sew that material on. But it's a cool color. I don't want to spoil it. It's a cool color. And we are also changing our bimini. It's old and leaks, and we're getting ready to head to the tropics. So don't want to be rained down all the time, but we're changing that as well. We're changing the color. We think it's going to open the cockpit a lot, which we're excited about. But those are the two big like aesthetic ones that we're doing. I'll let you take it away with the mechanicals.
Nice. Yeah, I would probably narrow it down to two big mechanicals as well. We've done a lot of work, but most of it's kind of boring. I'd say the biggest thing that's exciting is our engine should have no more leaks.
That's your most exciting?
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
That's the most like confidence boosting. I wouldn't say it's the most exciting.
Okay, most confidence boosting. The engine ran the whole time we had the boat. It ran fine. It broke down one time, but that was an electrical failure. So we kind of got to the mentality, or I put myself in the mentality, if it's not broke, don't fix it, and just like got through the season. But every time we went to turn the engine on, I was like, is this going to be the time where it shits the bed? So now that it's not leaking anymore, I should have a lot more confidence about that. And I guess maybe the more like electrifying one.
You're so
That was good. The more exciting one is we're tripling our solar intake. So we used to have to meter our electrical consumption a lot. And especially with the YouTube, charging all of our stuff and charging the computers and doing all like the rendering work on the computers, it just takes a lot of electricity. So
plus our freezer was faulty.
Yeah, our freezer was faulty. We have a new freezer now, an extra freezer. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff. We've been working on the boat a lot, and we're hoping to not take it out of the water again until we get back to like the east coast of the States. So we're trying to make it a couple of years of it being in the water, and this being a refit that gets us through that time period.
Yeah, part of our boat buying process was trying to figure out if we were going to buy an old boat and completely renovate it, or buy one that was basically turnkey, if you will, and trying to do upgrades along the way. And we ended up obviously going with the latter, and it was definitely the right choice for what we wanted, what we needed. So the boat held up generally really well last year, and we were really happy about it. We were glad that we didn't have to do anything major. Pretty much everything that we did this year was out of personal comfort instead of necessity. With the exception of the engine. That was pretty necessary. But as we continue forward, we're trying to minimize the amount of work we're doing, because boat parts are really hard to get outside of the United States. We're happy that we're here in Penasco because we're about 45 minutes from the US border. So we're able to order parts in just over the border and bring them back fairly easily, which makes this whole process a lot less stressful.
Definitely. We could talk a lot about the boat buying process and our recommendations on it. So if any of you are considering buying a boat to go cruise, hit us up. I think we have a lot of little good tidbits to offer.
Yeah, we can put a mini Patreon bonus episode together about that if there's interest in it. So either send us a DM or comment somewhere and let us know if you're interested in that. We'd be happy to put that together. It's a stressful experience, truly, but the more you know, the better off you are.
Yeah. And we had to do a lot of work the first year when we first bought the boat. We replaced a lot of major systems.
That's true. But again, more so out of like personal comfort than total necessity. Like the water maker. We had it and it existed. We could have gotten jerry cans, but we fixed that up instead. So could have gotten around a lot of things, but we decided to put time and money into it for our own reasons.
That's awful.
How easy is it coming and going from international ports? Pretty easy, honestly, at least from our experience so far.
Yeah, we had a cheat code though. We took the Baja down into Mexico, and with that, they get a special check-in process because it's 150 boats in a single moment. And these ports in Mexico aren't that size. They can't handle bringing in that many boats effectively. So with the Baja, we kind of just resigned our paperwork to the Baja committee, and they handled the actual check-in process.
Right.
Going from port to port, now that we're in Mexico, is super easy. They don't have any sort of like electronic tracking system. They just ask you where you've been and where you're generally going, and they don't even keep tabs of that. Not that we found. Yeah,
the only concern that they have is you're paying your port fee. It's real. They just want your money.
And it's like $5 for a day.
Yeah, it's not bad. At least in the places we've been so far, it's not bad.
Yeah, and that's to anchor outside the city. which we found we only do when we're like picking up guests or like doing a provisioning run.
Yeah.
So we're not there very often.
Yeah, we'll be able to answer these questions much more effectively next season as we go through multiple other countries.
It'll be a new one for us.
Yeah, the haha was fun though because they brought in a like customs person and they hopped onto one of the boats, and literally every single captain in the entire 150 boat fleet was responsible for their entire crew's passports and took their dinghies to that boat, and like dinghy by dinghy the customs guy was stamping passports and looking at paperwork. And it happened at like 8 p.m. It was very weird. And like the haha's a big party. So most people were really drunk already at this point. And then we had to go give our passports to this guy. And I can't believe that people weren't losing their passport. It was a lot. It was fun though.
Yeah, we're going to do an episode on the Baja. Haha.
Yeah.
Just a little short thing.
A little mini-sode. That's not going to be Patreon exclusive though, because we have a lot of people who have requested that of us who are not part of the Patreon and are currently getting ready to do the haha.
Yeah, it's coming up. Okay.
Your dog is as important to you as mine is to me. Talk about the difficulties having a dog on board. It's really, we feel like very lucky because Lou adjusted so well to boat life. It wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. Once he learned that he was allowed to use the bathroom on the boat in his designated turf pad area, everything else just kind of clicked into place for him. We could still tell that he's a little uncomfortable on those really tough sailing days when the waves are really high or the wind is really strong. But those are so few and far between for us that it's like it doesn't make or break the trip for him. And he's a beach dog. He loves the beach, so that makes up for everything else for him. We said earlier the hardest thing that we have going on with him right now is the fact that Mexico has like a stray dog problem, as most Latin countries do, and they're not exactly friendly. So we had a run-in with a stray dog last season that ended up biting Lou. Luckily here in Baja, there is a woman who lives on her boat. Her boat's called Chuffed, and she is Dr. Shetty, the sailing vet. And she does, veterinary clinics all up and down Baja. So all the stray dogs here, for the most part, are already vaccinated. So we didn't have to worry about rabies or anything like that with Lou when he got bit. But it has made us extremely cautious bringing him anywhere we know there's going to be stray dogs. That's been our biggest hurdle as of late, is trying to keep him involved without putting us or him at risk.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the list of difficulties, and that's a current one. I think probably for me overall is the dog hair in sand.
Yeah, that's so true.
If you have a dog on a boat, you're going to have a ton more sand in your boat, and you're going to have dog hair everywhere. And no amount of brushing or washing is going to really help that.
Yeah, well, it also depends on the kind of dog you have. Yeah. Ours sheds a lot, and he's black, obviously, so the hair is very apparent in the wood of the boat and the white leather. And it's a lot, but you learn to live with it, and you do as much as you can to prevent it, but it's unpreventable. Yeah.
I got used to sleeping in a sandy bed.
Unfortunately, that's horrible. It sucks, but it is what it is, and we have multiple sets of sheets, so we don't live with it for too long.
Yeah, I think it's maybe my biggest difficulty with the dog.
Yeah. Personal difficulty, not difficulty with the dog. But he does great, really. I feel like the bathroom thing is the biggest hurdle for dogs to jump. We had a lot of people that we ran into in anchorages that were like, how are you getting your dog to use the bathroom on your boat? And we actually had a couple people give us their turf pad for their dog so that our dog could pee on it and hopefully get them to register the territorial need to reclaim their space. And it did work a couple times. So bathroom, I think, is the biggest hurdle for most people. And some dogs just really don't like sailing. We've met a few people as well who had to take their dogs home. They had to take their dogs back to anybody who would take care of them because their dog just could not cope with being on a boat.
Yeah, size-wise, I would say probably Lou's at the very high end of what would be comfortable.
Yeah, he's agreed.
55 pounds. I think a 30, 35-pound dog would be a lot more comfortable on a boat.
Yeah.
But anything over 60, good luck.
Yeah.
Just the boat's always moving, and their 4-wheel drive just gets knocked over.
Yeah. You can tell he kind of like, That's funny. Yeah. That's the last question I've got so far. But we said 30 minutes and we are at 29:29. So thank you for your questions. That was really nice. Came at a perfect time. Yeah.
It's our first live stream.
First live stream.
Congratulations.
We did it. Hopefully the next one's less awkward. We'll put out another little poll next month in October to figure out when to do the next live stream. We're going to keep trying to do them at the end of the month. Obviously, it would not make sense to do one now and then do one on October 5th or whatever. So, yeah, yep. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.